Here we go, the NHL season. Oh, I'm about to get spicy with these hot takes. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Welcome if you're a new subscriber. I hope to see you more. My name's John. Please drop a like. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. We got some hot takes for the 2021-2022 NHL season. I'm bringing the energy. I'm so excited for this NHL season. So I'm going to do a hot take or a few hot takes for each NHL team. All 32 NHL teams. I'm going to rip through this video. Not going to make it long, so it's worth your time. So let's get right into it. Starting with the Anaheim Ducks. I think Trevor Zegras is going to put up 50 plus points. I think he's going to be nominated for Rookie of the Year. Maybe that's not so much a hot take, but I got more of a hot take for you. I think Rakell, Henrique, and Josh Manson will all be traded. Plus, look out for a John Gibson trade to the Metropolitan Division. I'm not even going to say the team. Know what team I'm talking about. Arizona Coyotes, I think they trade Phil Kessel. That's not the hot take. I think they trade Dmitry Yaskin maybe before the trade deadline. That's not the hot take. I think the Arizona Coyotes potentially trade Clayton Keller. I think they could trade Jacob Chikrin too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going they trade Clayton Keller. And I do think in terms of Coyotes that are going to break out, watch out for Barrett Hayton this year. Also for Arizona, I think Christian Fischer is also a guy to watch out for to potentially finally be something for this team. Boston Bruins, massive hot take right here. I think Jake DeBrusk, wherever he is this season, is going to explode. Maybe not in the sense of like going crazy sicko mode, like 60, 70 points, but I think either DeBrusk randomly starts going off in a weird role with the Bruins, or he gets traded and haunts Bruins fans. That, and I do think Charlie McAvoy is going to be either 1 or 2 in the Norris race. I don't know if that's so much a hot take, but a hot take enough to say that McAvoy is going to be a top 5 D-man this year easily, maybe even top 3. Okay, 3 hot takes for the Buffalo Sabres. I think Jeff Skinner scores 25 plus goals. Okay, that's probably going to end up being stupid. Casey Middlestat goes off and is by far the leading point getter for the Buffalo Sabres. And number 3, I think Dustin Tokarski somehow goes on like a weird mini run. Like I think Craig Anderson's like, yo, bro, get going. Craig Anderson's the Lucky Charms and Dustin Tokarski just goes nuts for like 10 games or something. You know how the Buffalo Sabres go through those weird winning streaks? Sabres fans, you know what I'm talking about. Tokarski's going to be a net for that. All right. Calgary Flames, I think Jacob Markstrom goes back to being a top 10 goalie. Maybe not a crazy hot take. I think Johnny Gaudreau puts up 90 points this year. I want to see it. Johnny Gaudreau, contract year, 90 points. Let's see it. I also want to make this clear. I'm not really thinking of these hot takes ahead of time, like a little bit, but most of this is just on the fly. And I actually said this before. I feel like the Calgary Flames, especially with Sutter as their coach, the hot take is if they slip into the playoffs, watch out for them being a sneaky like LA Kings 2.0. I'm not saying they're going to win the cup or anything, but I'm saying they can sneak in based on their style. They're a playoff style team. So if they sneak in, just look out for them to win a round or 2. All right, Carolina Hurricanes, as I said, I think Anderson could be a very big reach for Vezina votes, but I think Aho could be a major candidate to get Hart votes. I mean, that's maybe a huge hot take, but I think Aho, if the Hurricanes are going to want to do great this year, Aho is going to have to go sicko mode. Chicago Blackhawks. Okay, I think Marc-Andre Fleury also is going to just go on like double revenge tour here, and I think he might even get Hart votes. And I actually think he could run it back for Vezina. But I'm saying like Hart votes because I actually think he's going to be crazy valuable. I want to see Patty Kane go off as well. But I think that, and I think Johnny Taves is going to be back to like a 65, 70-point player. I mean, maybe that's a massive hot take, but Masterton, that could be Johnny Taves' thing. I mean, I could see him winning that award. Avalanche. Okay, 2 hot takes. I think Nazem Kadri goes completely off. I think Kadri goes for 60 plus, maybe even 70 points. And I actually have one thing down. I think Bowen Byram gets like Calder votes, and I think the only reason he doesn't get closer to winning is because of the role. I don't think he plays enough ice time just because of the guys ahead of him, but I think Bowen Byram looks nasty this year. Columbus Blue Jackets, I think Patty Laine bounces back. 35 goals, book it, or like 30 plus. I think my hot take is Patty Laine pushes 40 goals if he plays all 82 games. That's my massive hot take for the Blue Jackets. And I think Werenski also goes off. Merzlikins gets Vezina votes. Hot takes for the Blue Jackets, but Laine, watch out. Dallas Stars, I think Sagan just goes off, 80 plus points. And I also think that the Stars, in a weird way, end up having like 5 goalies play. Like I think they're going to be like the Flyers 2.0. I think the Stars are going to see like 5 goalies play. Detroit Red Wings, I think Filip Zadina finally goes off 50, 60 points, something wild for Zadina going off. And I also think Joe Veleno comes out of nowhere, and I think Veleno could end up being like a just a stud two-way center. I think Veleno's going to show up big, and I think Moritz Seider finishes top 4 in Calder. I don't know if that's so much a hot take, but there you go. Edmonton Oilers, okay, I got a couple takes here. I think Puljujarvi and Hyman combined for 50-plus goals, and I think the Edmonton Oilers see Evan Bouchard score close to 10 goals and even might spend time on the top power play unit if Barrie struggles. We'll see. Florida Panthers, I think Spencer Knight wins the Calder. I think Barkov has a chance to get, I don't know, Selke again. I think he could be in Hart conversation. And I do think Sam Reinhart is going to be over a point per game. LA Kings, I think Johnny Quick's going to get more games than people expect. I think he could be the goalie if they make the playoffs. I also think that the LA Kings are going to see a lot of the rookies play, and just in general, I think this is a hot take. They're going to make the playoffs. That's my hot take. Minnesota Wild. I think Eriksson Ek has a real shot at winning Selke. He's my Selke pick right now. I think Kaprizov has a chance at Hart. I think he finishes top 4 in Hart. And I think that Kalen Addison ends up playing a very sneaky role in the back end at some point this season. Maybe he doesn't start there, but I think towards the halfway point, I think Addison's got to show up, and I think the rookies like Rossi and Boldy show up at some point. We'll see. Montreal Canadiens, I got 3 takes here. I think Jake Allen goes on some crazy run and people hype up Montreal like they're like one of the best teams in the league. I think Jake Allen goes on like a crazy stretch. And my other take is I think Mike Hoffman, when he comes back, he goes nuts and scores 25, 30 plus goals. Nashville Predators, I think Philip Forsberg scores 30, 35 goals, but that's not my hot take. My hot take is I think UC Saros has a real shot for the Vezina. I think the Preds, again, are going to run it back and be very close. I think they're just going to miss the playoffs, but I think they're going to run it back towards the end and do exactly what they did. New Jersey Devils, I think Jack Hughes goes off for 70-plus points, and I think a lot of people are not talking about this guy. I think Pavel Zacha goes off for like 60-plus points. New York Islanders, I think 2 things go down. I think Oliver Wahlstrom scores 25-plus goals, and I think Ilya Sorokin goes off as one of the big breakout goalies this year. New York Rangers, I think Igor Shesterkin either finishes first or top 3 for Vezina. And I think the Rangers are going to see a massive, massive, massive breakout from Kakko and Lafreniere, where both players get 65 to 70 plus points. I think 65 to 70 points around there. Ottawa Senators, I think something weird's going to go down with Brady Tkachuk. Either one of 2 things. Either he signs a bridge deal and goes completely off and goes a point per game this year, or he gets traded. It might be weird, but I do think Brady Tkachuk goes off, and I think I'll say that I think Igor Sokolov gets called up and averages over half a point per game, and I think is a mainstay next year. Philadelphia Flyers, I think Carter Hart bounces back massively, and I think he ends up being a top 10 goalie stat-wise. And I do think Travis Konechny bounces back and scores 30-plus goals. Pittsburgh Penguins, I think Jake Gensel pushes 35, 40 goals and might end up being top 5, top 6 for Rocket. And I also think that a massive hot take is that if Jari doesn't get the starting job, I think it might not be DeSmith. I think they might go next man up. And Penguins fans, you should know what I'm talking about based on what I said earlier in this video. San Jose Sharks, I think William Eklund gets some Calder votes. And I said this before, I think this is the year Erik Karlsson finally bounces back. Big year for EK coming up. Seattle Kraken. Okay, 2 takes. I mean, this is not really a hot take, but I think 2 guys that watch out for this year, actually I'll say 3. I think Morgan Geekie goes off. I think Donato shows a big year. And I think Barboulay is a sneaky guy in their bottom 6. But watch out for Morgan Geekie. He could be like the William Karlsson-esque. And my massive hot take on the back end is Vince Dunn puts up close to 50 points. I'm not going to say 50 plus. I'm going to say close to 50 points. Over 40, close to 50 points. St. Louis Blues? Okay. listen to this. I think, and this might be a massive hot take, but I think Klim Kostin puts up close to 40 points. And I think my other take here is I think Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou combine for close to 140 points. Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay, this is a weird hot take, but I think Stammer, if he stays healthy, he's going to go back to a 30-goal individual. And I do think Mikhail Sergachev is going to be the defenseman we're talking about more so than any of the other defensemen. Maybe we're talking about Victor Hedman more, but I think Sergachev is talked about more than any of the other guys in that group. And I do think that Corey Perry moves himself up in the lineup through injuries and finds himself in the top 6. Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Michael Bunting gets Calder votes. I think David Kampf gets Selke votes. But this is my take. I think Peter Mrazek, for some weird reason, ends up getting more games than Jack Campbell. I think Campbell has shown that he probably ends up being the better goalie. But I think health-wise or whatever it ends up being, I think Peter Mrazek goes through a crazy stretch because we know he's that inconsistent goalie. My hot take for the Leafs is I think Peter Mrazek ends up playing more games this year than Jack Campbell. Vancouver Canucks. I think Demko goes back to bubble Demko for a period of time, but then just like goes, I don't know, a little bit off. Like something happens, Canucks fans start panicking. But the one thing I'll say, massive hot take, I think OEL, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, has a massive bounce back year. I'm locking him in for over 40 points. And I do think that Podkolzin ends up somewhere on that top line with Pettersson at some point this year. Vegas Golden Knights. I think Nolan Patrick has a massive bounce back year, finds himself in the top 6, finds himself on the number 1 power play consistently. And if you watch my prediction video, I think the Golden Knights either lose to Edmonton or Chicago in the first round. I think it depends on where they finish. I think Vegas either loses to Edmonton in the second round or loses to Chicago in the first round based on a former team. We'll see what happens. I think Leonard still has a good year, but I think there's going to be a part where he struggles and the Vegas fan club of Fleury is going to go nuts. I mean, maybe that's not even a hot take, but I could see that happening, and then Vegas losing in the first or second round to Edmonton or Chicago and just a bunch of controversy starting. We'll see. Washington Capitals, I think Ovi scores 35 plus goals, and I think Vanacek plays more games than Samsonov. Winnipeg Jets, I think Hellebuck wins the Vezina. I think Scheifele gets 100 points. And I do think Pierre-Luc Dubois bounces back. I still called him a bust in fantasy because I said don't draft him high. But I do think he bounces back because I'm sorry. If he doesn't bounce back, I'm going to chirp this guy so hard because he's in a top 6, great role on the number 1 power play unit. So I'm putting it out there. Hot take for me because I don't believe in it. Kind of all over the place with my hot takes there. But this was just also on the fly. I didn't have a lot of thought into it. It's just like what comes to me, what I drop. So let me know what you think. Subscribe, like, and comment. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. Let me know your hot takes, and I'm excited for the season. See you guys soon. Peace out.